Waiting for your ride. Any adjustments you made, or did you go with the plan that you had yesterday?
No, well, yesterday was completely different going, so but very much in the forefront of my mind was the fact that the forecast was for rain. So I gingerly opened the curtains in the hotel this morning, looked out, and it didn't look like it had been raining all night, so that was a blessing for a start. But no, I mean, just right to the conditions. I think to commend the track that was put in front of us, it was always going to be a track of riding well and using your intuition on the way around, just of how the features work. So it just amplified that, having the going the way it was. But great job was done with all the takeoffs and landings and things, so it felt very safe and secure. And as far as my own personal plan, I just went out and trusted my horse and just tried to give him a good trip between the fences, and just take each fence as it came and build a good round.
Super. Questions?
Michael, how did the ground differ between your rides on Rakana and Sam?
So the ground was not very bad, not very deep. So before I start with Sam, I'm not really sure, but he started very good. He jumped very clear on the fences. He feel happy, and the jumps was very good prepared with sand and everything. So he feel very safe on the jumps. He was also a little bit looking on the coffin like my first horse, and the tracks was wide enough, so you find always good ground. You can stay if you want more outside or more inside. So he galloping very well. So I'm happy with both my horses.
Michael, again, since you had 2 rides with the condensed schedule, did that change any of your warm-up or training, or was that a problem? Since the rides were only 3 minutes apart instead of 4 or 5, did it make it for a quick turnaround trip? Did you have to hurry back, or did you like the 3-minute schedule between the rides?
No, I think that's fine. We had it also in the 1, 2, and 3 star competitions. I think it's fine. That's good.
Michael, will you talk a little bit about that 1 second over the time? Are you very sad about that right now?
No, I'm, okay, a little bit. No, I'm very happy about my round, because Sam had a longer break last year. The last competition was in Aachen last year, and this was the first very big competition, and he feel very good. He gave me a very good feeling. He's 15-year-old now, but you feel he's a young man. He's very strong and galloping very easy, so I'm very happy about it.
Next. Go ahead, Lisa. Since we know you can run so well.
Tim, will you talk about, you had that long hold, and then sort of knowing you were tied at that moment, you needed to be really close to the time. How did you sort of deal with that?
I wish I stayed at school a little longer to work out the maths equation. But basically, I had to throw away the plan that I had in mind to stay very close to the optimum time, and just focus on being within the time. That was the best I could do in the situation, and just try and use the break. And it was a little longer than possibly was beneficial. He started to just drop down, but you just got to make with what you've got. So no, it was fine.
Derek, since the track was changed, greatly from last year and the last couple of years, are you surprised that the people who are up here today are much different from the first, second, and third place that have been up there for the last 2 or 3 years? What did you think about the change in the scenery up there?
Well, I think from year to year, you never know what's going to happen. And obviously, these guys are great riders, and they went out today and they did what they needed to do, because they obviously did what they needed to do in the dressage day, and they kept everything going today and did the job. And I think that I know that Michael hadn't been here since 2010 to ride in the World Games here, and Tim, I don't believe you've ever ridden here, so this was a new place for them, and they went out and rode the track very well. So again, I think from the perspective of the track being different, I think that for most of the riders, the track was new to them, and so it was not like anybody really had a home turf advantage. Yeah, exactly.
For Will, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about your ride today, and then what are your plans for the Land Rover?
Well, my ride was great. It's my horse's first 4-star, and when I went into the start box, I wasn't entirely sure how he would handle it. It was a big track, but he was superb the whole way around. He's a real fighter, and I knew he would jump the jumps, but for him to get close to the time and make the time, I was obviously thrilled. The Land Rover, I'll probably get to look at it here, and then I think my wife's probably going to drive it. I'll be lucky if I sit in it.
Well, Will, just to specify, what you win is a 24-month lease of a 2015 Land Rover Discovery Sport. And just to be sure everyone understands, the Land Rover Best Ride of the Day goes to the U.S. rider closest to the optimum time with no penalties, and that obviously was Will. And Will, we're going to take a moment right now to introduce someone who's about to become your best friend. She is the Vice President of Marketing for Jaguar Land Rover in North America, a good friend of our sport and of this event in particular, Kim McCullough. First things first. Merrick, you'll understand.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I also wanted to mention that the brand new Land Rover Discovery Sport is just now shipping to retailers. So, will be among the first to have one in the United States. That's kind of a fun little extra bonus. So, I want to present you with the key.
Photographers, move into position.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really,
You're
I'm
welcome.
very excited.
And then we'll go over to the off-road course after the press conference, so Will will have a chance to drive it for himself for the first time before his wife gets a hold of it for the rest of the 2 years.
Thank you so much. And we will have a fleet of golf carts available immediately following the press conference. Any photographers who want to come down will just go down to the Land Rover off-road area, and we'll have a chance for more photos with the actual vehicle. And Will, you'll get in it. It will be all yours. I just want to take one quick moment before we get to our next questions. Earlier this week, a group of riders who are competing here through the Pro Riders Group went to UK Children's Hospital to visit some of the patients there. Will was one of them, and part of me thinks the time you took to spend with these kids, and it wasn't just a question of walking in, hi, how are you, walking out. Will sat down, played video games with one of the boys, and really spent some time with them, interacted well, and I'm going to believe this is a reward for how kind you were. More questions?
Tim, how do you identify a horse that has the skills in all 3 disciplines to find the perfect ride for this sort of an event?
I guess over time you get quite practiced at looking for certain qualities in horses, but that doesn't necessarily mean you get it right every time. You're always learning, and there's a little bit of chance. You want to look for something that has enough thoroughbred blood, I believe, in my opinion. But then, having said that, the horse that I have here doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of thoroughbred blood, so we're just breaking that rule straight away. But no, good quality in the mind. I think good bodies and then good temperament. But I would almost put temperament first, because with a good temperament means you can train them to be what you hopefully can and want them to be. So it's just about keeping your eyes open and just looking for those things.
Pippa.
Derek, I wondered if you could just tell us whether there are any surprises for you in the way the course rode today.
I don't know if I had any surprises, but I believe that there was plenty to do out on the course today, and so I think that certainly one would expect that there was going to be some issues that would go on throughout the course, and I think that's how it actually, in fact, did turn out. But I think as far as surprises and how things rode, it's always good, obviously, after you design something and put it out there, you obviously always want to see it ridden, and on a day like today, especially with the way the weather is and the going. But I think that the horses handled the jumps quite well, and so in that respect, I was quite happy, and especially that everybody, as far as I know right now, that I think all the horses came home safe, even the ones that did have some issues and had to retire from the course.
Back up front, Lisa.
Derek, it looks quite a bit different out there this year. I think, will you talk about some of the major changes you made to the track and kind of why you did those for this year?
Well, I think that over the past 4 years, the track has been quite a lot the same. I mean, I did change the configuration of the track every year, but not as much as I did this year. And I think that was my sort of main goal this year, was to really do something different and to give the riders definitely new things to look at than what they had seen in the past 3 or 4 years. And so, in fact, so that's what I set out and did. When we built quite a lot of new jumps and really sent the horses and riders in a different way.
Anyone else? While we're walking the mic back to Janet, I'll just quickly give you all a few statistics that we have. 71 horses started, 46 finished. There were 15 eliminations, 10 retired on course, and there were 6 double clears. And then today's attendance, despite the weather, 31,586. And you can see a lot of them still here shopping. Janet.
Hi, Derek. I wondered if you had given the spectators any consideration when you redesigned this course. I have to tell you, in walking around today, that many times I heard people were very excited to be that close to the horses and to the jumps. And I think the fans really liked the new layout. Was that something you had in mind, or just luck?
I think that's always when I try to lay out these courses, and especially here, that I try to make sure, you always have to take the spectator in mind, to make sure that you sort of give areas where there are a number of jumps that they can view without sort of having to walk huge distances. And I think that the way it laid out this time, that there were plenty of areas that people could see the horses not going out but also coming back, and I think that's probably makes for probably a good spectator experience.
Any last questions? I know Will is very anxious to head down and pick up his new set of wheels. Can we say set of wheels?
Michael, what are your plans going forward toward the European Championships? When will you decide which horse you're going to ride, and what more will you be doing before the championships?
I have many horses for Stragon. This is in June, I think. That's a qualifier for the Europeans, a long 3-star. And then after we will see, we decide which horse.
Well, once again, we will have a fleet of golf carts ready for photographers. We're happy to drive everyone down to the Land Rover. In the back, is that what we're saying? All our drivers are in the back, so we'll head that way. But on behalf of Rolex and Land Rover, the USEF and EEI, we thank you all. Derek, we congratulate you. Riders, Tim, Michael, Will, congratulations to the three of you. And we mentioned yesterday that we would invite you guys back tomorrow. I suppose it wouldn't be right if I didn't tell you you're all welcome back tomorrow. Before we let you go, our photographers would like some pictures with you standing against the backdrop. I see Libby is like twitching, getting ready to get into position. She had Katie winning an event last week. She's super psyched where Tim is. So congratulations once again, and thank you all.